Welcome everyone to a very special edition of The Back Porch. Today we're going to talk about how Alford elevates remote meetings. And to do that, we're going to take you behind the scenes. And later, we're going to answer some of your questions. So please go ahead and start asking those questions right now on Facebook Live. And then as we learn more and you have questions, be sure to ask us. So, TA, tell us more about how Alford Media is elevating remote meetings.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, remote meetings are definitely what we're all doing today in this world we live in. And one of the things we found out early on is, just like meetings we've all done for years with an audience out in the room, it takes some special things to make them work well. You got to have good rehearsals. You got to have the right gear out there. They're often a combination these days of remote presenters, pre-recorded videos, and like we are today, live in a studio. And all of those things have to work together to make a really great experience, to make our clients look their best and their clients look their best. But the thing that it really takes most is great, empowered people to work out there and do a good job. So one of those people we're going to hear from first today is one of our video signal engineers.
Hi, I'm Keith. I'm one of the video engineers here at Alford Media, and I want to welcome you behind the scenes into one of our control rooms. Today, we want to talk through some of the different roles that come together to make a professional remote meeting, and what it is that really elevates those meetings to a very polished broadcast. Now, we have a lot of options when it comes to meetings that we support. Whether your meeting is completely remote, or if you want to use our studio to combine a local presenter with a remote presenter for a hybrid event. We can even come to a venue that you choose and set up a studio and broadcast from there. Some of what we want to share today is how we seamlessly integrate a remote presenter into our control room and combine them with locally generated graphics and video playback. We do this using multiple pips, customizable lower thirds, and branded video backdrops. We have high sample rate audio and multi-layered production comm, and we combine all of those elements together to deliver a truly professional HD live stream broadcast that then we can deliver to a hosting platform that our client chooses. Now let's meet some of the people that work hard for these meetings to come together.
Hey guys, I'm Matthew Walker. I'm one of the video technical directors here at Alford Media. My primary role as a video TD for our broadcasts is to ensure that the images that are leaving my switcher and headed over to the signal and video engineer look as perfect as possible. In the pre-production phase, I work with the client and the graphics and content specialist on how the composition of the broadcast will be developed for the viewer and its final look before it leaves our studio. I also develop the views that the presenters will see in their returns, as well as various looks for multiple destinations. I then direct the live camera shots from our studio mixed with the incoming virtual presenters, graphics, and other playback media. For me, it's a lot like live events that we do in the ballroom, only this time we're in a production studio and we're bringing in these virtual presenters from around the world. I believe that virtual and hybrid events are here to stay for a very long time. And what sets Alford Media apart is that we have the studio, the people, and the experience to fill the new demand for high-profile video broadcast productions.
Hello.
I am Jay Rodriguez with Alford Media. I'm going to be your green room stage manager for today. So, some of the things that I'm going to walk you through today is to ensure that we have a good video from you, clean audio, and to make sure that, we're centered up in our frame. So, I would like to start with asking you to tilt your camera down or your monitor.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep. Let's be mindful of our headroom. I will ask you that you stay center of the frame at all times. If at possible times that we bring other presenters on screen with you, we will crop the sides, so we ask you that you stay centered in the frame. For our audio engineer, would you mind counting to 10 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great. I get thumbs up from my production team. Hello, my name is Jay Rodriguez. I am a green room stage manager at Alford Media. I work with remote presenters to ensure that they are ready to go from a presentation and technical standpoint. I accomplish this by welcoming the remote presenters into our platform, working with the video TDs for the live stream to ensure that their camera shots are set up correctly, that the lighting is best that it can be, and also working with audio and comms engineers to ensure that their microphone is operating correctly and that they have quality sound. I communicate to remote presenters just as a stage manager would communicate to a presenter prior to them hitting the stage, including relaying specific messages from producers, as well as giving them countdowns to when they're going live. The best part of my role is that I get to help speakers and presenters look and sound their best, and I feel that it makes a huge difference in the level of quality in virtual meetings.
All right, so there we learned how our video technical director has a very important position, and also our newly made green room stage manager. TA, can you tell us more?
Yeah, the green room stage manager, which actually a name we had to come up with here, as many things in this changing world, is just really key. We've always been able to have A2s in the back working with our presenters to make sure they're properly mic'd, and then stage managers to make sure they know when to go on stage. And today they're remote, and we think it's even more important that they get that personal service, that they know they look good and sound good, and they know when they're going to go on. So it's become a really key element in a great show. And, there's a lot of different levels to these shows. They go from, we've all been on the Microsoft and Zoom meetings and everything, which are great and very informational. But when you want to take it up to another level, we can go from something that's just one or two people coming in, maybe done out of one of our control rooms, or could also be done on a remote platforms. But then we might be bringing in, 10 or 11 remote broadcast people, doing pre-records. There's just all types of levels that we can deal with, and including having people here in the studio live. And to do all of that, make it look great, we also have to have great graphics and great audio and comms. And so we have some people here that are going to talk about that a little bit.
Hello, my name is Sean Lunsford, and I'm a graphic and content specialist here at Alford Media. It is my job to help you and your team achieve a premier look and feel that will represent your brand during your broadcast. There are many ways I can help you with your presentation, whether it's compiling, organizing, and executing your company's assets, or working with your team directly to coordinate looks and designs straight from scratch. I can help you with a multitude of services, including presenter speaker timers, video playback, PowerPoint presentations, or teleprompting your speaker's script in a downstage monitor. Using a multi-layer media server, I can provide animated lower thirds, fluid backdrop designs, vivid pip borders, and stunning logo builds. All of these elements can be manipulated in real time, which alleviates the need to pre-render any content. Coloring, sizing, position, and scaling are all on demand. These are just a few of the many features that allow me to provide a customizable and intriguing experience for your attendees. Trust myself and the Alford Media team to handle all of these elements, allowing you to focus on delivering a captivating presentation that will engage your clients.
Hello, I'm Ben McKinnon, Audio Services Manager here at Alford Media. Today we're going to talk about our audio and comms engineers that we are using in our remote and live broadcast shows. We've kind of taken a hybrid of our front of house engineer, our system engineer, and our comms engineer that we have on a typical show, and melded that into one person who is controlling all facets of audio for a show. Within that hybrid role, our engineer is first focused on the front of house responsibilities. We still have to mix the show, even from a remote broadcast standpoint. Not everybody's mic can be on at the same time. Not every video can just be hot all the time. We still have to fade mics in and out and videos in and out as appropriate, just like a live show. The second responsibility of our engineer is the systems. Most of this happens pre and post show with setting up all of the different computers that are necessary and then tearing them down. It's also monitoring all these computer systems during the show to ensure that everything is running correctly. The third and final responsibility of our engineer is the comms. Comms has changed a lot. Not everybody is now in the same room, so we're having to use hybrids of our current comm systems while also reaching out over the internet to people who are remote calling the show. In addition to remote show callers, we have the comm system set up to also be able to talk to remote presenters. We're able to tell them when their segments are coming up. We can give them count-outs to videos, just like a live show. With this hybrid position, we're taking your usual remote meeting and elevating it to the standard that you're used to seeing in a live event. Working hand in hand with video, we combine these elements to realize your vision.
Awesome. So there we learned from Sean, our graphics and content specialist, how he can manipulate and create graphics on the fly as your speaker is presenting their presentation. And then also we saw how that hybrid, we put those three audio positions together so that we have the best product for not only the presenter, and the audience and our crew as well. So TA, tell us more.
Well, I think it shows, how important all these positions are backstage. And, I've been doing live shows or involved with them for 40 years. And one thing we can always count on is something doesn't go right, something always goes wrong, or presenter gets off script. And by having people like Sean there in the background to see that their graphics stay up with them and make them look as good as we can when those unfortunate things do happen is just really invaluable. And the communication systems are even more important, in my opinion, than they have been in the past. Because in the past, we could literally walk up to someone if something happened and tap them on the shoulder and speak with them. And plus, when you're in a room, you feel like you're part of a team. You know that people are there and have your back. And today, in this remote world, knowing that there's somebody there to keep you comfortable, that they are seeing that your signal quality is good, and letting you know when you're going to be ready to go on is just extremely invaluable to a good quality show. And they're just doing an outstanding job. And so with that, we're going to learn a little bit more about signal video engineers and our event leads.
Hey there, my name's Cody Jenkins. I'm here to tell you about my role in our new virtual events world, as well as in the live events entertainment industry. The video and signal engineer role comprises of collecting video sources ranging from your remote presenters to HD graphics machines to lower thirds and PowerPoint solutions. I initiate connectivity between all the sources, live and still, to our switcher, such as the E2, Kayak, or smaller ATEM machines, and send them out as multi-views, your presenter feeds, and overall programming. All outbound sources feed multiple recording systems and can be received by most recognized video players via an RTMP stream on your company's website. In addition to a digital lead who monitors our internet, ensures a consistent connection, and is available on site to correct any issues that might arise, I also maintain and troubleshoot these networks during show while coloring our live camera signals. All of this is made possible by our team who pushes each other to reach new goals and client satisfaction and set new expectations for your success.
Hi, I'm Robert Bennett, and I'm an event lead here at Alford Media for our live stream events. The event lead works in tandem with the sales team and the client to assess the project's needs, then formulates a plan to move forward. Whether it be scheduling of the crew, studios, gathering resources, weighing cost and quality, or just reaching out to our client to take whatever I can off their plate. Managing the studio during the show is also a key part of the event lead's responsibilities, ensuring gear and resources have been gathered and set, keeping crew, client, and remote talent in position and on point, taking our show from a plan to an accomplishment. Our goal, as always, is client satisfaction.
All right, so there we learned about how our signal and video engineer, how that role is vital to remote events, plus our newly created event lead. So TA, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, again, as we're learning here and going along, when we first started doing these remote meetings several months ago, by the way, it's hard to believe, but we've now been at this 6 months since all of this started back in March. It was like, why do we need a technical director, which is what Robert has been in the past, and Pat and others. And we figured out really quickly we still needed somebody to wrangle all the parts. And so while we may not be building a set on site, hanging lights over people's heads and putting up big speakers and all the things that have to be done and weights figured out, we still have to figure out what the client wants, how it interfaces with everything here in the studio, where the live presenters are coming from, and a lot of front work to make these shows come off well. And then the day of the show, working here in the studio to keep us all on track. Believe it or not, there's people trying to keep me and Rachel on track on a day like today. And it's just really a vital piece, especially when you get to a larger remote meeting where you have a lot of moving parts. And so it's just become one of those invaluable things that, again, we take what we learned from years of doing live meetings in front of a large audience and put that into a studio audience to help our clients realize their dreams and let it not turn into a nightmare. That's a lot of their job. So I think with that, are we ready to take questions from the people out there in the remote world?
Absolutely. So yes, another plug for questions. Go ahead and submit those on Facebook Live. We'll start, we have some pre-submitted questions that we solicited, so we'll start there. So can you tell me what sets Alford's virtual event services apart?
Well, you know, obviously we've got wonderful gear and we've got a beautiful studio that I'm privileged to be sitting in today. But just the same as it's been for all the years I've been in this, what really sets it apart is great people who view the show that they're doing as a part of their own personal reputation and believe that they're only as good as their last show. And so they really go to the trouble to do the front work. You know, all good shows happen before they ever start. And so people get tired of hearing it, but it is the same old thing. It's great people willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And while it's not a question, I wanted to let you know that Walter Harvey votes for Brad Pitt to play you in a movie. So I just thought you should know.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah, I think you should know that.
He's got one of the few company names I can remember. It's White Rabbit.
Yeah.
Walter Harvey, if any of y'all have seen the movie.
Yeah.
Over there.
All right. So can you tell me which position has the distinction of wearing the most hats?
Well, that's a good question because it really depends on the show. On a smaller show where perhaps there's only one or two techs involved, the person that really kind of has the video switcher, the video TD role definitely becomes everything. Because like a show perhaps is run by vMix, you may only have one or two people doing it. When you get up to a larger size show where you have multiple people coming in, pre-records, I don't believe, especially in this particular environment, there is one because we all have had to learn, the favorite word today is fungible, but to be able to do multiple different things. So there are people cross-trained to have each other's back. And so if the video engineer is getting overwhelmed, the TD can step in and help him and et cetera across the board. So I don't know, on the larger show, there is a person that's really the guy. If there's a stage manager, I guess they're always in a hot seat, but that would be my best answer.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Yeah. All right. When does the crew size increase, or what would precipitate the need to increase the size of the crew?
Well, again, depending on the level of complexity of the show, there's some obvious things. If you're doing just perhaps one presenter with 2 or 3 other people coming in, but we're taking it one level above. I hate to use the word Zoom, but it's kind of like Coke. I mean, people, all those type of meetings, but you want smooth transitions. That perhaps is only a few technicians, but then you go after that to something that's in a control room, a full-on control room. There you're going to get up to 3 or 4 people really quickly. And then in particular, the green room stage manager, we've discovered, like most things through actually doing it, that when you get around more than 4 people at a time waiting out there, you need to increase that position. So again, it's not a hard set number. If you have 5 or 6 presenters, we're not going to make you have another person there. And you can maybe have 12 presenters over a day, but there's 4 for the morning session, 4 for the mid-noon, and 4 later. But if you have 8 or so people out there, you need to increase that position, absolutely. We've also had situations where we did the Texas Democratic Convention, and there was over 100 video rolls in a day. So we actually had to have a video position, just like we would again on a live show when it's that intense. So there are times when you have to have another graphics person, another video person. To date, we haven't had to go with additional video TDs like we might have in some others, because typically in the studio, we're not going to get above 2 or 3 or 4 cameras. Once we get out in the field, that's a whole different story.
Definitely. So since you brought up the Zoom word, we'll go for that question.
I did.
Yeah. Is there an option between a Zoom meeting and a very polished professional broadcast?
Well, as soon as we get involved, we hope it's a polished professional broadcast. Well, we've been working with vMix. It's fairly new to us, but you can do, I would say it's a step up because you can do some video overlays, have multiple pips in, and create some looks ahead of time rather than just Rachel's going to share her screen while she's presenting, and then Tom's going to take it back and share his screen. So you can do a more professional level. From there, we go to our small control room, which at that point you've got a full switcher system set up and can do pretty much anything you want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. We have our first live Facebook question from none other than Walter Harvey. He's very popular today. He wants to know if COM is the toughest technical hurdle to overcome.
Well, I asked before we started this meeting if it was easy for me to drag one of my texts in for some of these questions, but it was definitely, we've had a lot of hurdles, to be honest, to overcome, to figure out this world, knowing that we were getting good video signals in, controlling people's bandwidth coming from their homes is quite a challenge. But definitely, we recently, I don't know all the particulars, but we recently assisted in a very large show where that's all we did was control comms, because it was going out to multiple places all across the nation, and it had to be right every time. They were doing a lot of voting, et cetera. So there was 19 or 20 channels, I believe, going out with, we had people on DC and on the West Coast working with one another. So that was definitely interfacing comm with computers, with the local. But fortunately, several years ago, we went to all digital comm. If we hadn't, we would be completely screwed at this point. So things work out for good reason at times.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, Melanie wants to know, she knows that you love live events, but what is your favorite thing about remote events?
Well, that's a good question. My smart aleck Alford answer is waiting for live events to come back. But no, the fact that we can do pre-records, that we can show that there is something more exciting and better to show people out there. Like many people in this audience, I've been on a lot of remote meetings, a lot of Zoom and Microsoft and other meetings, and just real honestly, it gets boring. And so having the challenge to help remove that boredom and keep people engaged and work with our clients to do things new, and a lot has been new, and that's always exciting. And I think sometimes the guys here that are working so hard, maybe people don't shoot me for that, but learning all these new things, it's always exciting, and it's going to stand us well in the future.
Awesome. An opinion question. So which role is the most crucial for a successful remote meeting?
I don't think there is, a single role. Just like in any event we've ever done, if you lose audio, if you lose video, if the presenter doesn't know when to get on stage, they're all pretty massive issues. I've always said we live in a world where 10 seconds of dead air is probably going to cost our client and me a job. And there's really, it's harder with remote meetings, but it's just as true as ever. So I don't think there is one. No one person can fall down on the job. If they do, if there's a weak link in that chain, it screws up the whole thing. So we try really hard to make sure there's no weak links.
Definitely, definitely. And Jennifer Shelton, hi, long time no see. All right, next question. What is our current health and safety precautions that we're taking?
Well, I think like most everybody, we're doing the standard things, which is one here at Alford, at the end of every workday, the guys go through and clean, and we clean off all the surfaces. I know me and Rachel aren't wearing masks here on the stage, but the people out in the audience, out in the control room here, the camera operators, what have you, if we have to be in close proximity, like everybody else in the world right now, we're wearing masks. We have tried to build our control studios and things such that there was enough distance between them, that's not always necessary because of the long hours that we're working. The guys here a lot of times going 10 or 12-hour days. But if that's not possible, this morning we had clients in, so everybody in the building at that time was wearing masks. And again, when they leave, surfaces are cleaned. Mm-hmm. We have temperature checks, which I was reminded earlier today. Of course, we were doing a show at SMU recently, and the temperature I got was 167. That's how hot it was on the ground where my crew was working. So they were making a point. But we do the temperature checks, we do the cleaning the surfaces, we wear the mask, really anything we can do. I will tell you, it's not a thing we're doing for safety here, but Tom Alford went and got his flu shot this morning. And I want to encourage everybody in this business to go do the same, because we need to do everything we can to have people healthy and not have a relapse of any kind, so we can all get back to live meetings. And that's a minor thing, but I think everything we can do personally to help get our nation healthy and get us back to work is a good thing. So that was a small step that I took this morning.
Definitely. And okay, we have another live question again from Walter. Thank you. And anyone can submit a question. It doesn't just have to be Walter Harvey. But his question is, how can we increase engagement in remote events?
Well, that's a really good question. I would probably leave it to my producers more than us, but anything we can do to keep excitement in events, having really great presenters that people want to hear, not me, but, famous people. I know that's already been done. Having a topic, it's the same as a live show. We need to have a topic that people actually want to tune into and not just be forced. A lot of us are having to go to meetings that we have to do for our jobs, but to engage them. We've seen some fun stuff with giveaways and things like that, in the old days, you always got, fun stuff, spiff stuff on a show, but where they had some pretty significant prizes to get people engaged and coming in, and then had, live, raffles or whatever you want to say for those that did that, and for best questions and all that. So there's a lot of things out there, and I'm sure our production community has a lot better ideas than these technical stiffs back here, which I'm one.
Definitely. I would just add the way that we can now manipulate graphics and content on the fly,
absolutely.
just to keep you visually engaged, for sure. All right, next question. What's been the biggest change backstage from a live event to a remote event?
Well, since fortunately I'm not the guy that has to be backstage, I can't speak truly to that. I won't give I wish I could get their opinion ahead of time, but again, not being able, while they are working together, not having, say, for instance, a stage manager actually in the room where you can get information directly from them. There's a lot to be said with visual clues. You can look at somebody's face and tell they're not too happy with what you're doing, and that's not the world we're living in today. One, you can't see their face half the time, and when you can, you have to take all your keys just from their eyes, which are handy, but it doesn't work. So I think that's, and most of our stage managers, by the way, on current shows have been remote. So that's definitely a change. We're all pretty cramped. We've taken rooms here at Alford to make control rooms, and quite often if we have a huge set, we have a lot of room to spread out backstage, and that's not the case right now. In trying to socially distance and keep everybody six feet apart, it may sound counterintuitive, but it also makes it kind of cramped, because by the time you do that, we've used all the space we have available back there. So I think that, and just the interaction with being able to bring presenters back and make them feel comfortable, not being able to do that makes us a little uncomfortable. So we're going the extra mile to do the best we can to make up for that.
Definitely. All right, and this might be our last question.
Could be.
Yeah. So what is the process from pre-event through show?
Well, again, it's very much like any live event we've ever done. We get the information from the client, what's their dream, what are they trying to do, discuss with them what really can be done, in the environment we live in. Discuss budgets. Like anything else, the more people you have, the more it costs. So there's a lot of ways to go there, but it's really that old thing that makes for us to have a great show has always been great communication. So if we have a client that actually knows what they want to do, and they may not know how to do it, that's our job, but if they know what they want to accomplish and can translate that to us and then are available, we were working on some stuff this morning that they want out really quick, and the person we need information on is gone for a week. Makes it very difficult to have a good show. So it's having the people, and we're available. It's having clients that are engaged, that know what they want to talk about, that know when it's going to happen. Again, this has always been true, but it's more important today, and that's living up to deadlines, because we can't run up into that person's room the night before his show and redo all of his stuff in person, work with them, because they're not here. So locking things down early has always been important, but I would say that it is extremely important in this world, because changes are more difficult remotely. And today some presenters may be coming from a different, maybe presenting not only from across the nation, but from across the world. And so time zones and all that come into play, where if they flew here in the past, it just, wasn't an issue. So that would be my answer to that question, the best I can answer it.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Any other questions today?
That is it. We didn't have any more. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I hope everybody enjoys us doing these. We enjoy bringing the information to you. I would encourage, if y'all have anything that you would like us to talk about, send it in via Facebook or email or any other way. Do know that if you want to take your meetings up to that next level, we would sure like to work with you on doing it. And I've always, my whole career, not been scared of things I don't know how to do, because I know that I can find the people that do know how to do it. And in this world we're all living in, we're all discovering a lot of new things, and we need to go out there and do them. We're not going to lie to you and tell you we've done it 100 times if we haven't, but we are going to figure out how to do it and make you have a great show. And we're looking forward to the challenge. So let's get through this, and let's all stay healthy, get the nation healthy, and get back to some semblance of normality, I guess, would be my biggest wish and prayer for the country and our business.
Yes, absolutely. Seconded. All right, well, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your questions, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.